So people often wonder what a day in my life looks like, kind of like how my writing goes. And I often say I write in spurts. One, because I have children, so obviously interruptions constantly. And another reason is because, like right now, I was in the middle of writing, but then I needed to go find more information. So I'll have that up. I'll be doing this also because I try to answer like any kind of comments or emails I get as soon as possible. And then I'm researching right now, so you'll see the things that I'm highlighting to include in my scene. Because while a scene might be short, it might only be 2,000 words. In order for me to get it accurately, there might be a lot of research that goes into it. Like this particular meal that they're preparing is a magical meal, and so I have to make sure that I'm getting all the aspects correct. I'm going to finish researching so I can finish this scene and then take a little break in between dinner and when I will start to write again. So this came as a surprise today. I came home and I had a box sitting on my front porch, and I'm thinking to myself, I did not order this. What's going on? So I opened it up, and a company that I love to order from, Man Crates, has just sent me a freaking jerkyogram out of nowhere just because literally they say, you're awesome. We gave this to you for being awesome. And so I opened it up, and this box is like legit. So much in it. And it was totally a surprise, which is amazing. And I'm super appreciative of them. I love Man Crates. If you're looking for something for that guy in your life, I highly suggest you check them out. They have so many cool theme boxes, from like brewing your own beer to wood carving. They have a jerky advent calendar. It's just a really cool place to find some interesting items. And I will actually be putting a link below. So that was like my little midweek pickup surprise, and I wanted to share it with you guys before I devoured it. Today's just been like a day of projects. Just kind of taking a couple days off of writing because it just wasn't coming to me, and I've learned instead of forcing it, sometimes it's just better to do anything else. So I worked on my intention box, or some people call them manifestation boxes. And it's just a box that's meant to house your intentions for the next year, remind you of your goals, so you can sort of check in and put all your positive energy toward it. And I'm really happy with how it's turned out so far. I have dubbed 2018 the year of the unicorn. Don't ask me why, it just came to me and it stuck. So everything is gonna be like a team unicorn theme next year, and I really like how it turned out so far. It's missing something, but I don't know what it is yet. Now this is how it will be, and I'll sort of add things that I want to think about and remember my goals for next year. And it'll be interesting to see if it helps me stay on track or not. I've heard that it works really, really well. So today, the girls and I are dropping off our letters to Santa. This really cute thing that Macy's is doing. Check it out. And for every letter that you drop off, they will make a donation to charity. Can I see your letters? The girls have actually decorated their letters, which is adorable. And we will definitely have to continue this tradition. So I'm going to let them go ahead and put their letters in. Hey guys, Shyla Colt here, wrapping up for last week. It seemed only appropriate that I continue with the Christmas and wintry theme, so I am all bundled up, which is going to make me do this even faster because it is so warm in my house right now. So, as you guys know, not only am I doing a advent calendar where I'm opening a new book that was off of my shelf all this month, I'm also trying to meet my goal of 200 books read this year. I am at 169 and I am jamming through graphic novels. So I kind of already broke my own rule of only reading the books on my shelf because I didn't have that many short books. So I am continuing to read the books on my shelf, and I'm allowing myself to get short stories and graphic novels from the library because I am way too close to my goal to stop now. I am here and I'm going to give you a wrap up of what I've read so far and drink some chocolate wine. Seriously guys, if you have an outing, get this wine. It is like $6.99 and you'll thank me. I don't like wine, but I like this one. So let's start with the graphic novel I picked up, From Under Mountains by Gibson, Leong, and Churchland. There we go. Finding the sweet spot. As you can see, I'm actually filming in my living room because I wanted to include my amazing Christmas tree, Chibs. If you follow me, you saw this in the last one when we went for the hunt for a Christmas tree. I picked this one up because I thought it looked interesting, and as you can see, it's such a striking cover. I thought it would really be about strong women, and I was wrong. It was really a fantasy scape. I know with this being the first book, there was a lot of setup, but I just wasn't into it. I really didn't care about the characters. And the way that it was told, it was very disjointed, where the characters clearly knew what was happening and there was a past there, but we never actually found out what the heck the past was, so we were missing the connections that would have made light bulbs go off until about the very end when you kind of pieced it together. About two races plus the goblin race who sort of have a very tentative peace treaty, and now something is threatening that and they're all trying to get to the bottom of it. You have the female character who is basically a pawn. Her only contribution as far as her father is concerned is marrying well, and that's the last thing she wants to do. She really wants to escape. So when her brother is killed, she sees her chance, and that's kind of where this ends off. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't get into it. It's not something that I will pick up again. I think I gave it like a 2.5. I did like the graphics, but that was about it for me. And then we have my last book, book number 4 that I opened for my book advent, which was The 100 by Cass Morgan. Now, I love the show, so I was excited to read this, and let me tell you, I was not disappointed. It was everything I lacked in the show. The depth that came with the characters, the deeper world building that happens in this book so that you can really see the full picture and understand why some of those characters were so extreme. It was really intense. I read it in like one sitting. I can't wait to read the next one. I found it to be really interesting. I liked Clark on the show, and I did also like Clark in the book. In the book, she has some cringe-worthy moments, but when you're like 17 going on 18, that is to be expected. I felt like it was nothing that was outrageous for her age, and she still was very strong and very capable, and I think those cringe-worthy moments actually made her not be a Mary Sue, because you're like, yeah, this kid is definitely flawed. You definitely have these children who are being shipped down to Earth, which hasn't been lived on for quite some time after a nuclear war happened and everybody took to the skies. They're using 100 criminals to test out if the radiation levels have dissipated enough for people to live. So they're all crammed into the ship, shot down onto Earth with supplies, and you can imagine that it's a bit Lord of the Flies-like. If you like the show, I highly recommend that you do pick up the read. It was like a 4.5 star read for me. Oh, I picked up some middle grade reads because, again, I'm trying to meet my goal of 200, and this was Spooksville, The Wishing Stone by Christopher Pike. I picked it up, one, because I'm one of those moms who reads the books before she lets her kids read them. I have a kid who likes spooky books, but not too spooky, which Spooksville is perfect for. It was very interesting. In this one, you have a wish stone that grants you your wishes, but there is a fee, and the fee is that you have to work off the wishes that you won on a slave planet. So you have the concept of that, you have the concepts of sort of selfless and selfishness, and then you're visiting different planets and different species. So it was super interesting. It was also super cheesy, which I felt kept it really age appropriate. So if you have a kid who's into science fiction, stuff like that, or aliens in this particular instance, it is the perfect from like 9 to maybe 12. So, I mean, it was like a 3-star read for me personally, but perfect for kids that are a younger age. Then you have Twilight, the graphic novel, volume 2. I was reliving all my Twilight wonderful, emotions through this, and they did a really good job. They definitely hit all the highlights. I enjoyed the art. I didn't feel cheated, because sometimes when a book is condensed into a graphic novel, you feel like major things are missing, but not with this. I actually felt like I liked this pace maybe even more than the book, because there are some things in the book that you could have cut and been fine with, and in the graphic novel, that is what happens. I like the characterization. I really enjoyed this. Highly recommend it. It was a 5-star read for me. I definitely got to get my little dose of Twilight and was reminiscing on when I was devouring these books. And just in case you want to know, it's not Team Edward or Team Jacob for me. It is Team Jasper Hale, because he is my boo. 5-star read. I had a blast doing this. The Misfits of Avalon, the Queen of Air and Delinquency by Macdonald. So I picked this up, one, because the title caught my eye, and then it kind of looks like it would be like a female Dungeons and Dragons. I couldn't handle the characters in this. The snark level was so high, and the bickering between the characters was so insane that it took away from the story that was trying to be told. I probably stopped about 80% because I just couldn't force myself to do it anymore. If I was reading this and I was 12, I wonder if it would be different. But trying to read it at my age, it was too juvenile, like literally too juvenile. Like, I'm gonna push you and you push me back, and then we're gonna fight with each other. It was ridiculous. Somewhere buried underneath there was an interesting concept, because we were tapping into the whole Merlin's magic and going back to the Knights of the Round Table, but I could not dig it out underneath just the juvenile crass humor. It was like a 2-star read for me. If you read this and it was different for you, I'd love to hear your take on it. And my final shorty read was Frankenstein Retold by Gris Grimley, that is a mouthful, who also did the art for this. He said he was always into Frankenstein, and he decided to basically take it on because it really had inspired him to create art. And I like his take. It was different. He definitely turned it on its head. You may love it or hate it. I did enjoy it. If you like the original story, it stays within the vein of sort of creepy but sciencey and dark, but also full of emotion and angst, because that book was really sort of emotionally pushing boundaries. Like, where does life end? Where does it stop? Who is the real monster? The creator, or the creation that he's created, who has no control over himself? And they definitely still ask these questions, but there's a lot of different nuances in it that I particularly enjoyed. Now, I will say that some of the language was so clunky and it felt really bogged down, and there were parts where I felt that the story did sag, so that put it at about a 4-star read for me. But if you liked Frankenstein, I do recommend it, even if it was just for the art alone, because the art was gorgeous. And that was the end of my quickie reads, and it brings me to my book number 5 that I opened for my book advent calendar, which was The Unnaturalist by Tiffany Trent. I'm having a hard time with this. So I'm about 120 pages in, and I'm not sure how in love with this world I am. In this world, things are powered by something mystical called mist, so you definitely are in a steampunk type of environment. You have people who are tinkerers, who basically have the power to create, and then you have sort of the upper echelons who's living off of all these mist-powered things, and then you have elementals who have disappeared and they're trying to figure out why. And so you have Vespa Nix, who basically is the daughter of a man who is in the upper echelons. She works in the Unnaturalist Museum, which is a museum where they have caught all these unnatural things. And now, because of the technology they have, instead of taxidermy, they put them in like a special laser where they're stuck, they're frozen in time, but they are still alive and still aware of what's going on, which seems so much crueler to me. But you have that going on, and she keeps having these incidences because she is not just the human that she appears to be. Now, all that sounds really interesting, but as you're reading, it feels like a lot of just info dumping. It feels info dumpy, and it feels really slow, and it's really like clunky, and there's a lot of things going on, and you're wondering, do I really need to know this? Can we speed the pace up? Whew. So I'm not sure if I'm going to complete it. I really made a deal with myself that if I was really disliking a book, I wasn't going to drag myself over the hot coals to complete it. and I'm not clicking with this. I'm going to give it 50 more pages, and then we'll see. If you've read this before and it picked up for you, please let me know, because right now, yeah, it's not looking too great for this. So we're all up to date. That was my last week. It was a lot of reading, but it was fun. I've had a good time. This week will be more writing. I will show you guys a little bit of that side. It gets kind of boring just watching me sit at a computer. So if I have any kind of researchy things, I will let you in on that. That's a lot more fun because you can be more involved. Yeah, so I'm going to hop off of here, and you're going to see me again in this because I am totally doing mass filming right now because time is like this and it's Christmas and it's so crazy. So yeah. I will see you guys next time. If you like my brand of crazy, make sure you follow and subscribe. Thanks for joining me. Bye, guys.